Minecraft is the best-selling game of all time. But why? You might say it's because the infinite amount of playability it has, or video sharing platforms like YouTube can infinitely juice it for content, or you can even say it's the nostalgia aspect of the game. And all those answers are right, except you would be forgetting one thing: servers. When I first picked up Minecraft back in 2013 on the Xbox, it was one of the best experiences I've ever had with a video game. But there was one problem. Back then, the console editions of the game didn't have any servers. It was lonely. When I got Java Edition sometime around early 2015, I was blown away. But not by the game itself, but a certain part of it: servers. Servers provided some of the best memories with people I've never even met in real life. And I imagine it was the same way for a lot of other people too. Servers back then were simple. Anybody that played Java Edition back in 2015 can most likely recall fond memories of servers like MCSG, Mineplex, HiveMC, and a lot more like that. I'm sure I'm missing a lot of servers, but yeah, that's okay. But those aren't the servers that this video is about. A lot of people found their own servers that they spent most of their time on. These servers were for the most part survival servers with a very small set of rules. In those servers, they just dropped you and all incoming players into a survival world, and everybody just had to fend for themselves basically, or create groups. And those groups were called factions, and those factions, or clans if you want, they would go to war over loot, territory, and many other things. It was almost like a real life simulator. These kinds of servers are the servers this video is about. I want you to think of the name factions. What do you think of? Do you think of this? Because if you do, this video is especially targeted towards you. I didn't mean that in a mean way, by the way. That sounded so intimidating, I'm sorry. What I've noticed is that in the Minecraft community, there's two groups of people. There's the people that remember the old definition of factions, and then there's the people that only know the new one. It might even come as a surprise to some of you that there is an old and new definition. So now you might be wondering, if these places were so heavily community-based and so amazing and great and fun, then why aren't they around anymore? And what happened to them? And when did they disappear, and how? And that's what I'm going to be answering, starting with part 1 of this video. 2012 was the year that Minecraft factions would start to change forever. No noticeable changes occurred during this time, but certain plugins to servers started developing that would later be implemented in the modern factions, such as F-Claim, which allowed your faction to claim land, and something called a power system, which I'll get into more later, and more. A new era of factions was being developed in these years, from 2012 to 2014. During mid-2014, things started to change. A server by the name of Cosmic PvP was opened on May 24th, 2014, which took a spin on the traditional factions. Instead of throwing people into a world and telling them to just survive, and letting them naturally make groups and go to war with each other and loot each other, Cosmic PvP added tons of new plugins. The plugins that have been developing for the past 2 years were all implemented in this server, and more. And features like custom enchants, kits, and much more were added in the course of 2014 to 2015. These features were added to attract new players, but new players are the least of their worries. The server was owned by Preston Plays and Wolfless. These were two huge well-known YouTubers that owned the server and were promoting it on their channel daily. This attracted thousands of players, and those servers that people spent most of their time on ended up becoming obsolete. Faction servers that didn't end up being like Cosmic PvP ended up dying out. So a lot of the traditional faction servers ended up transitioning into Cosmic PvP style of factions. 2016 to 2017 was a death date for almost all of the traditional faction servers. There's no exact date for when they all died out, but if the old servers didn't convert, they got left behind and their player base left them. Okay, part 1 is pretty short, but this one's going to be a bit longer. The servers influenced by Cosmic PvP started to do influencing of their own. In the traditional factions, you would build walls around your base, so when people found it would be harder for them to blow it up. But these new faction servers started adding plugins to create instant giant obsidian barricades with one lava bucket, super strong armor, kits, donor kits. It's honestly too much of a list to put in this video, but they started innovating. Although it attracted new people at the time, it had serious consequences for the long-term economics of this new genre of factions that Cosmic PvP has started. The only reason this new style of factions was popular in the first place is because it was a grind. You always had something to earn, and then you could kind of show it off to the rest of your people. But armor became greatly devalued. but armor became greatly devalued by this. Full vanilla enchanted diamond armor was seen as next to nothing, and most servers actually gave it to you when you spawned in because of how broken the economics in the faction server was. Faction servers that copied Cosmic PvP started making their own websites where you could donate to them and they would give you kits. These kits were called donor kits, and whenever you died, instead of earning your loot back or fighting for it back, you could just do a command and you would instantly get your armor back. Donor kits became a popular way to make profit off of owning a faction server. This created a huge pay-to-win system, devaluing the armor even more. Cosmic PvP and a lot of other faction servers like Cosmic PvP started implementing loot crates on their websites. I don't even know how that's legal. Promoting gambling to underage kids just to profit off of them? Like, really? You could spend 50 hours getting an armor set, or you could just buy it off the website. If you were a legit player that didn't dump tons of money into this website, you would have a severe disadvantage compared to the people that did dump tons of money into the website. All of this devalued the armor so much to the point where PvP became almost obsolete. There was no point to PvPing anymore, so people stopped. The armor and weapons were so powerful that PvP became a patience game more than a skill game. Later on, a system called power was introduced, and this completely removed the aspect of raiding other people's bases even further. Like, that part of factions was just gone because there was no point in doing it anymore. Basically, with power, if you generated enough wealth within your faction, you could buy power, which got you more land to claim, and you wouldn't be able to get raided, and like, you basically just earned money and bought power. This completely stopped people from PvPing with each other, because why raid and fight when you can stay in your own base and buy power, so you can never be raided again? Now, not every faction server implemented this power system, but it was fairly popular and resulted in the complete absence of PvP and raiding in factions, both the core focal points of the original factions. And I'm not even lying to you, some of their ranks are worth hundreds of dollars. Now, nothing is inherently bad with that itself, but loot crates, god kits, whether you like the new factions or the old factions, I think we can all pretty much agree that factions has become infinitely more corporate, and most of the new faction servers only exist because of profit and not passion like they used to be. I just realized this whole video is kind of like, oh, back in my day, things were better. Factions has taken a huge turn since when it originally started, and honestly, if you ask me, I think it's for the worse. I feel like a lot of people would agree, considering the sheer amount of just genuinely good memories I have of the original factions. I remember this one server, I recently just found it again. I was like searching for days on end for it, but it was called Dreamless, dreamless.org. By the way, this isn't a promotion, by the way. But the only features it really had was a /home feature where you could set your home somewhere, like in your base, and you just stand still for a few seconds and it teleported you back home. But that was about it. That was the only thing there. And the only rule was not to hack. It let you explore the world on your own and kind of make a name for yourself. I remember there was 2 factions, I forgot what they were called, but I was part of one, and you know, my enemies were part of one. Fun fact, my cape is actually from that clan. I just haven't changed it because I thought it was a badass logo. We all wore the same cape with their logo on it. Me and this person were kind of the leader of this faction. It was just amazing just going to war with the other faction over the stupidest stuff. It was kind of like the Dream SMP, but like not scripted, you know what I mean? I remember making friends that I still remember the usernames of today, which is honestly just amazing because I used to play there a long ass time ago. One of my most fond memories of this place was the race to the end. That was crazy. So me and my group, I can't name everyone in there, but I remember like the main people in there. But me and my group got to the end and we fucking stole the Ender Dragon egg. I forgot who killed him. I don't think we did. Someone else killed him and we just yanked the dragon egg from him. And then the other faction heard about that, and then like everyone just started raiding the end, both factions. It was like an actual fucking battleground. It was crazy. But I think we ended up winning that one. Where people kept teleporting back to the end and coming to fight us with no gear because we just fucked them up. It was so fun. People were betraying each other, bases were leaked. It was so fun, man. I remember me and my friend got the egg and we ran back to the overworld with it. And there was just so many battles over it. Like, the next morning I would get on and the base would be exploded and the egg would be gone. We would have another war over it. It was just crazy. I remember I had a meeting with the leader of this smaller faction. There was a lot of factions in the server, but this smaller faction, since I was the leader of mine and he was the leader of his, we kind of like talked privately, but people were watching us from like afar. So while we were talking signs. He was typing his sign. I just fucking punched him off his huge sky base and he died. And we went to war over that. I mean, they ended up winning somehow. I remember like being fucking broke after that. Oh man, there was people that backstabbed me. Trust was betrayed. It was the most fun time I've ever had in a video game, honestly. I remember there was this guy named Seth, right? So sorry for all the stories, by the way. Just I have a lot of stories from this place. But there was this dude named Seth, and he had like a bunch of numbers after his name. I forgot it, but he disappeared one day. And he didn't talk in chat or anything. He was on the server, but he just never came back to base. So I had a meeting with the enemy faction. We were trying to agree over like some land or some shit. And he was by the person's side. And I remember feeling so angry when I was little, but like it was so fun. The dude fucking just backstabbed us. The man even put on like an evil version of his skin. It was like a dream. It was like some dream SMP plot twist shit. Aside from saying all these terrible things about how factions ended up turning out, I still love that I had the chance to make those memories in the first place. And that those servers are still around even though, you know, nobody gets on them anymore. It's about the passion. It's not about making money, and that's what's misunderstood by a lot of server owners. But that's about it for my long ass rant. If you remember the old days of factions, make sure to comment your favorite memory of it down below. I'll read all of them, I promise. Like, I'm actually really interested in this stuff. Anyways, that's about the end of the story. Those servers are still out there, by the way. You just have to look for them. Also, consider joining that server, dreamless.org. It's spelled just like the word dreamless. I swear this isn't a promotion. I'm just really fucking lonely on that server. I need people to play with. This took literally so long to make, so that's why I haven't been uploading lately. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you like it. Okay, bye.